New details are emerging about sexual assault allegations against the actor Kevin Spacey. Police now say there is video evidence that he allegedly groped a busboy at a restaurant back in 2016. And Spacey has responded with a video of his own. Our Miguel Marquez has the details. First, though, a warning. This story has some sexually explicit language.
You trusted me, even though you knew you shouldn't.
The video titled "Let Me Be Frank" posted to Kevin Spacey's verified Twitter account shortly after indecent assault and battery charges brought by a then 18-year-old accuser whose mother spoke out on his behalf last year.
In July 2016, actor Kevin Spacey has sexually assaulted my son.
Spacey, in his video, doesn't address the charges. He performs the video in a kitchen, Santa Claus apron on, and in Frank Underwood character from the Netflix show House of Cards that Spacey starred in for 5 seasons until he was fired after several allegations of sexual misconduct surfaced.
You wouldn't believe the worst without evidence, would you? You wouldn't rush to judgments without facts, would you? Did you?
Netflix had no comment about the video, whose timing, tone, and substance were jarring, given the charges the actor knew were coming. There was a hearing in the case 4 days before Spacey posted the video.
Conclusions can be so deceiving.
One piece of evidence Spacey's accuser has against the 59-year-old actor, says the complaint, is video of the assault itself. The accuser's girlfriend, when interviewed by the police, says she received a Snapchat video from her boyfriend showing Spacey touching the front of the accuser's pants by his crotch.
Kevin Spacey bought him drink after drink after drink. And when my son was drunk, Spacey made his move.
Her son, the accuser, admitted to police he told Spacey that night he was 23, not his real age of 18, according to the complaint. He says the assault happened late night after his shift as a busboy at Nantucket's Club Car restaurant.
The victim, my son, was a starstruck, straight, 18-year-old young man.
The accuser claims after several drinks, Spacey asked sexual questions, exchanged phone numbers, then tried to get him to his house. Then, in a packed bar, the accuser claims Spacey used his left hand and started rubbing his thigh and eventually sexually assaulting him for about 3 minutes.
Nothing could have prepared my son for how that sexual assault would make him feel as a man. It harmed him. And it cannot be undone.
Miguel, we heard in your report there a lot of what the prosecution are going to be saying or accusing Mr. Spacey of. But I understand that we've also had a court hearing which has given us something of a preview as to what the defense are going to argue here. Tell us more.
Yeah, so on the 20th, there was this hearing, a very sort of perfunctory hearing, but the defense, Mr. Spacey's defense lawyer, got to ask the officer, the trooper, the state trooper in Massachusetts who filled out the complaint, got to ask him some questions, and there was some revealing information in there. One, the video that the accuser says he has is about 1 second long, perhaps even less. The accuser also wasn't able to identify which shirt he was wearing that night. The entire incident taking place over about 70 minutes came out in this hearing. And the accuser apparently had as many as 10 drinks during that 70-minute period. He also represented himself as 23-year-old to Mr. Spacey, but not just that, but said he was studying business at Wake Forest University. So there was a whole sort of discussion in court or questioning in court, like this was a young man who was coming on to Kevin Spacey and wanted to hang out with him. So Mr. Spacey may have, jumped to that conclusion and become sexual with him. So that all of that is sort of in that background. The other thing that we now know is that on the 7th of January, Mr. Spacey will be in court in Nantucket to be arraigned on this. It was unclear from that hearing whether he would or not. We thought he might be able to waive that appearance, but it seems that Mr. Spacey will in fact be in court.
And when he does appear in court, then could he find Mr. Spacey? Could he find that this somewhat bizarre video that he posted online of him and his Frank Underwood House of Cards character could be used against him in some way?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't think it will probably come into play, but it is from a PR point of view. You know, there was this hearing on the 20th, so his lawyers were clearly aware. He was clearly aware that something legally was coming his way. On Monday, Christmas Eve, the Boston Globe breaks the story about these charges coming. And within minutes, about 20 minutes or so later, he himself posts this video to his Twitter account. It was just jarring. It's just, if all of this wasn't happening, you'd think, oh, maybe he just wants his job as Frank Underwood back. But in the context of this, it just raised a lot of eyebrows.
Yeah, it certainly did for all of us watching this court case unravel. Miguel Marquez, thanks very much indeed. We appreciate it.
You got it. Take care.